Good evening. It's Wednesday night, and that means it's time for some midweek Geek. Hello, Brian. You were in chat nearly an hour early. I don't know if you're still lurking, but if you are, happy Halloween for next week. Of course, next Tuesday is Halloween. 6 days to go. So hopefully tonight we're going to give you some inspiration as to any monsters you might want to use in a Halloween game. Perhaps. We shall see. As you can see, I do have Elfbait with me. Good evening, Elfbait. I don't know if anybody else is joining as yet. The link is in the usual place. Halakar is also in chat, and Halakar's already been making Halloween monsters, including one called the Yog, which he has used in his game. Cheers for that, Halakar, which was like a pumpkin beholder thing.
Nice.
Yes, so Halakar, if you ever wanted to drop on and explain the Yog, you're more than welcome. But so that's taken away pumpkin beholders from us. We can't come up with pumpkin beholders. Halakar's already done that. It's like a big jack-o'-lantern beholder with lots of little pumpkin things.
There's a mini of that out there. I'm pretty sure Reaper puts it out.
Oh, is that where he got it?
I don't know if he got it from there, but I know there's a mini of it. So.
It's the first direct. I don't know.
Now he's just baiting you.
Yeah, he is baiting me. Yes.
Well, got a new member.
Hello, Mike. How are you? You're right. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Marvelous. Always nice to see members. I believe you've been a member before. Right, so before anyone else joins in, I don't know if anyone else will be joining us. Any game? Oh, you've been entertaining a long-term friend, haven't you?
Yeah, I still got a couple of games in. Played a couple of board games. One war game and one just general like hangout party game. We were going to do some more. We're going to do some miniatures gaming, but that was the event that got canceled. But no RPG stuff. So.
It was a renewal. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. I knew I'd seen you green before. You become green when you become a member. Thank you. What I'm trying to know what we did on Saturday. It was Gingerbeard who ran because Jean's away at the moment. So Gingerbeard ran Saturday afternoon's game and played a bit of OSE. And then in the evening, I ran my MERP game, though it was one of those sessions where you don't roll any dice. It's just a case of interact with a few NPCs and plan for where the campaign is going. Hello, RPG Grandma. So we spent a good 2.5, 3 hours planning because MERP's a sort of game, it's hard to run on the fly, especially in such a rich world as Middle-earth. And some of my group know more about the world than me, so if I cock it up, they'll be the ones to pick me up on it. But so yeah, I was just sort of finding out where they wanted to go, how they wanted to approach various things that are going on, and I'm drawing them into Cardalani politics in the mid-third age. Cardalan has completely collapsed, and it's local lords in little areas, all sort of vying for supremacy. And one of the most powerful of the lords has asked them to do something a little unsavory to prove their value to him. So we're going to see what happens.
That's cool.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's got some proven heroes who've shown themselves to be competent on the battlefield. So why not say prove your loyalty? See that lord over there? I want him removed.
I have been not getting a lot of RPG stuff in, which is bugging me. But so not too much.
Monday night. My Monday night game was called off this week. People being away and sick and things like that. So played a bit of Dungeon Keeper until the stream crashed. Joy. Doesn't run particularly well on this computer because it's in a DOS box. It's an old game.
Which version of Dungeon Keeper are you playing?
Dungeon Keeper 2.
Okay, because I saw it had like an overland map, and I don't remember that from Dungeon Keeper.
It's where you choose the various bits.
I don't remember that from the last time I played it. I think I played the first one or something like that.
Well, the first one has just gold, but this has gold and mana reserves, and you spend your mana reserves on spells and imps.
That's cool. I'm surprised they actually don't make more games like that still.
That's a quality game. It's a really, really good game.
Yeah.
And it crashed during my second attempt to complete a very difficult level, and someone who was in chat was saying he completed it on the third attempt. After it crashed, I loaded it up because I think it's partly the fact it's streaming that's causing the issue, OBS and whatever. And I failed on my 1.5 attempts. So my second and a half attempt, I failed. Something the half attempt was the crash. And the 3.5 attempt is when I succeeded on. So I have completed that one now. Good evening, Daniel. Good evening, RW Bishop. How are you all? And yeah, nice to see you, General Nut. How are you doing? Are you improving? Are you getting better? Because we've missed you. We've missed you, Nutty. Right. I think we can plow straight on with what we want to get on with tonight.
Cool.
We're going to be making some monsters. We're going to be making some Halloween-y monsters. And as a template, I think OSE/BX is an ideal template.
Yeah, you don't have to fill in a bunch.
No, it gives you an idea of what the monster's about. And if you want to use it for AD&D, you add a few more bits and pieces, maybe beef it up a little bit. And you get the idea to convert for other systems because OSE is so straightforward. So that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to do this by presenting hopefully let us look at this.
Look at you all prepared and things.
Get me all prepared. This computer, I haven't put any Office software on here. So This is Microsoft WordPad.
Yeah, I haven't got that on mine as well, and any real Office tools on mine. So I often just end up using my Google Drive stuff.
Yeah.
So
my old PC's got all that on, and I still use that for all my Office work because
there you go.
It's just struggling to run games and streaming and all that sort of stuff. So I'm keeping this computer pretty clean. Right. So there we have screen overlay. What's that? Here we go. Let's have a.
Oh, that puts it nice and big too.
Yeah. Yes. Should do. Okay. So I need to be able to see chat. I need to be able to see us. And I've lined up my screen so I can see us both. I can see chat, and I can see if anybody else does dive into chat because the green room is quiet at the moment. The link is in. Hold on. Right. Okay. So you've got to go about in 2 hours anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Not a problem. Not a problem. So hopefully someone else will have come along and joined me by then, so I'm not all left by myself. But hey ho, that's the way it goes. People have lives, and people are moving house or have work. So those sort of things happen. Right. Anyhow, that's what we've got. So we are making monsters for Halloween. Have you got any ideas, Elfbait, or shall we throw this straight over to chat?
I used to make a lot of horror-based monsters, and not specifically Halloween-based, but a lot of undead and the like. I had my 2E monster manual. I would have a ton of them. I feel like Halloween-themed monsters are kind of an easy one to get into because it's anything gross, undead,
Part of
just
the
general.
problem is all the common monsters have been done. All
Yeah.
I mean,
So you start
so
tweaking around with those. Like, I have a monster I made called a Cross Robin, and the name was a slant of its original name, where it was basically, and it was pretty much an animated crucifixion victim that was put up at the crossroads, and so it would carry it, it would drag its wooden frame along with it, even though it was all desiccated and rotten. So it was just like this creeping doom kind of a monster. It's a variation on a zombie, but with your revenant. So that was one I did. I did a bunch of undead, dwarven specific undead for like a return to an old dwarf old game. Those were fun. Um, then when I was doing Ravenloft, I made a lot of weird creatures, like horrible bug things that occupy bodies, and for
oh, lovely. But
yeah.
they're perfect. They're perfect. But we've already had a suggestion here from RPG Grandma of a flaming pumpkin head. So I think that's a good one to start, and I think Pyro Pumpkin might be a good name for that.
There you go.
There we go. I'm getting the idea now that you're very much into your Gonzo stuff, RPG Grandma, by the looks of things.
I think if you're going for more of a Halloween theme as opposed to just general horror, playing up that Gonzo usually works.
Right.
Because, I mean, Halloween fun is usually horror based, but often with a lot more just whimsy added to it. I mean, if you look at like not horror movie Halloween movies, what are they full of? Oddball, weird things. Yeah.
Goblins that throw minor splash damage, exploding pumpkins. We could do that in the form of a magic item or a weapon. If in my OSE game it's Christmas themed, and some of the things the characters have been finding, things like instead of fireballs, they're fire baubles, little Christmas baubles that can
Christmas
be
ornaments,
launched.
yeah.
Christmas ornaments that can be launched that blow up in as small fireballs.
What you need is an elf ninja that throws Christmas stars. He fights with a candy cane, like you would like a little mini staff, Daredevil style. Let's see.
Bad Mr. Frosty's gonna have to wait till Christmas. But that's a good idea. Right, so I mean, looking at some of these, I don't think we're going to need to put Thaco and saves in there unless there's any sort. We'll put special, because they're going to have special abilities.
Yeah. I mean, unless they're particularly potent, then they're just going to save as regular person, anyways.
Yeah. I don't think a Pyro Pumpkin's going to have a very good armor class.
Probably not. Now, we're talking about like pumpkins that are flying around on their own flaming, sort of like the flaming skull monster?
Look, it's going to be about that big, and it's going to have. But like, I mean, do you think we joke about my fat head becoming a pumpkin hour midnight? Can you imagine my fat head having a good armor class? No. It sits there and shines and goes slap me. So okay. And if I'm going to use these in our OSE game, the characters are between levels 1 and 4. Most of them are getting to around level 2 now. I'm going to want something that can. I mean, some of the OSE players are there in chat at the moment. Nosorian, for example. What do you fancy fighting Nosorian in the form of a flaming pumpkin? Flaming skull-based pumpkin.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The flaming skull out of D&D. There's a monster flaming skull.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
And so the Pyro Pumpkin was. I think that's what RPG Grandma was thinking. Is that something similar to that? Flying around on fire, hitting things, and
they're pretty potent though in fifth edition, from what I remember.
oh yeah, because they don't die.
Yeah,
When you destroy them, they just go back to where they started and come back after you again.
And they do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah.
Um,
if you're in a dungeon with them in 5e, you pretty much have to find some way to put a barrier between you and them. Otherwise, they're going to catch up to you eventually and get you again.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to suggest something like that.
Forehead die? That sounds about right for a large pumpkin monster.
Yep. And the idea of spitting flaming pumpkin seeds. Okay. So attacks 1 bite or 1 spit.
There we go. We could do a special attack that could disgorge a big old area of effect of pumpkin guts.
Oh, yeah. And like Halakar says, flaming seeds that stick like napalm.
There you go.
Okay. Spit, flaming seeds, treat as flaming oil attack.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's already in the rules. So the damage would be. I don't think the bite would be that great.
Well, if it's a pumpkin as big as you were saying, I would, at least a D6.
Oh, yeah. Or spit. And the spit would be a ranged attack. Bite would be if you get it in melee. The spit would be like a ranged attack. Or spit. That's a special.
Let's see. And then morale. I would give them a really high morale because I imagine they're basically unshakable.
I've got to put their movement rate in. I don't know why it's just done that.
Oh yeah.
I think they'd move. I think I'd have them thinking in OSE terms. You're talking.
Are we gonna have them fly, or are you gonna have them kind of like hop along in a menacing way?
I'd have them flying. Definitely flying. Yep. Yeah. These are flying beasties, and they're going to move quite quickly. So I mean, they can't. They can take a. Is it a plant? No. It's a sentient creature. Yes, a spinning machine gun fire seed spit. But it would be the equivalent of a flame. It would be an area effect flaming oil, sort of.
Yeah, just a big gobbet of flaming pumpkin guts is kind of what I'm imagining.
And I'm going to say we're going to make that a 20-foot diameter attack as well, I think.
Damn, that's a big area of effect.
Yeah, I think it's going to. Yeah, I think it's going to sort of spray an area, like RPG Grandma says. Swallow. I mean, could a flying pumpkin really swallow a player? I mean, it could clamp on their head.
You could always give it a second special where if it's destroyed, it explodes.
As a gas spore, yes.
Yeah. Except for fiery. Because all the flaming pumpkin guts go everywhere.
Explodes on death. Damage as per spit. So that's 2d6 damage on the first round, 1d6 damage on the second round.
Yep.
That's pretty brutal. Which
will encourage the party to engage it at range if they figure it out, because or have that option.
Okay, I think you're right with the morale being pretty high.
Yeah, about as unshakable.
Now, on the 2 to 12 scale on the 2d6, I think we're looking about there.
All right, so it will retreat sometimes then?
A once in a blue moon.
Okay. Chaotic, obviously.
Yeah. Yes. Number appearing 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't want too many of these flying around.
None. Unless they maybe they have something in their gut.
Well, I mean, if they're just running around burning people to the ground and not swallowing or eating them, probably not. Unless you want to give them like a special treasure, maybe the source of their fire. Maybe kind of sort of like the what is it, the fire beetle or whatever it is, and where you can get the oil from it or whatever to.
None but the seeds can be collected carefully.
Oh, you could put in that they could be used as flaming sling ammo.
Yeah.
There you go. So it's not going to have much in the way of like treasure, but it's got an interesting, fun little reward for going through it and encountering.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's a good start.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a good start. That is suitably Halloweeny, and it also works the fact that here in the UK we have bonfire night a week after Halloween. Where there's lots of burning things going on.
Burning of the things.
Yes. We celebrate Guy Fawkes attempting to blow up all our politicians.
You don't know how much that historical figure irks me.
Does he?
Just because of how he's become, I'm not to wax too political, but people have glommed onto him as a pinnacle for like anti-government, and I'm like, but he wasn't trying to do away with the government. He was just trying to replace it with a different one.
Yes.
So,
yes, he was.
But yeah, because of V for Vendetta and all of that, he gets used as this like poster child for anarchy and stuff like that. But
no, they were Catholics who were trying to get the
exactly. It wasn't about getting rid of government. It was about putting the church in charge.
Yeah.
But anyways,
so there we go. That's the monster pyro pumpkin. First monster, pyro pumpkin. If you are playing in my OSE game, I want you to enjoy the stream, but then forget about it.
We need the flashy thing from Men in Black. But look right here, please. But,
right, what other ideas? That's RPG Grandma's one. So has anyone else got any suggestions? General, no, I think the exploding pumpkins is going to be similar to my fireballs. You throw them for miniature fireballs.
Let's see. Halloween themed, not just horror themed.
Halloween.
It's kind of
transparent men, people who you can see their bones, guts, and stuff that come out only at night.
That actually, I think there's already a monster like that in BX. I think it's one of the fake undead. It's actually a type of ooze, kind of similar to a gelatinous cube, and it kind of moves around. Or no, it was in the old Deities and Demigods. If you remember, I think it was one of the Nailwan myths. There was they look like undead until you get close and you realize they're just people with transparent flesh.
All right.
So yeah, those are a thing. I do recall. I know they've been done before.
New Ghoul. It's not the New Ghoul.
Yeah, I think it's the Neon Ghoul. Yeah. Let's see. Something with candy skulls from Dia de la Morte. Mortos. Candy skulls are good. Actually, and it's a be interesting version of necromancy. If we were talking about false undead, sugar skeletons, where they're not
Sugar
actually
skeleton.
bones, they're actually just made out of sugar.
Okay. So what would they do? Fire off spores that cause tooth decay?
Well, you could give them a magical ability. You could treat them actually like maybe like a weaker form of skeleton because they're obviously just sugar. But then maybe give them some sort of like charm ability where they kind of like pull you into a dance, like a celebratory dance kind of a thing.
Go on then. Okay. Right. So sugar skeleton. Oh, I put an H for H. What's the H got in
It's
there?
a fantasy monster. See, you're just making it fantastic sounding with a weird spelling.
So they're quite weak.
Yeah, so like armor class 7, hit die 1d6.
Damage.
We could make them really weak in their hand-to-hand and actually make their major damage by a per round of being caught up in their dance.
Okay, so if they happen to strike you with their sugary hand, it's a whopping 1d3 damage.
Yep. See, RPG Grandma and I are on the same wavelength there. Dance people to death that they hypnotize, into their dance. That makes them kind of more of an obstacle monster too, which is cool. Where you have to kind of save for spells or be charmed into dancing.
Yeah. Maybe while the skeleton is dancing, you dance with it.
Yeah. And with the group of them, if you encountered a group of them, of course, you could end up with the whole party getting stuck into the dance, and then it becomes really that like life or death. And you can have it drain like 1 hit point per round or something like that.
Do you remember
nothing major.
Secret of Monkey Island? The knee bones connected to the hip.
I never got to play
thigh
it.
bone and
No, I never got to play it.
That's what they could sing.
Well, yeah, I mean, or really annoying mariachi music, but but whatever. I'm
just going to fill in the easy bits first. Morale, they're going to be entirely neutral.
Neutral, because they're just about getting you to dance.
Yep, and they're not going to move quickly.
Number of appearing, I'd do like a D6.
Yeah.
Treasure, they could have silver coins on them because often associated with the dead and offerings to the dead. Maybe their skulls have silver coins rattling around inside their sugary skulls.
I'm going to put another special here.
Okay. I need to step away real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. If damaged by fire, they melt to form a treacle. Which sticks to flesh and burns for 1d6 per round. I wonder what I think. There we go. I think that's. I think that one and treasure. I'm going to put none, but angry bones be used to make excellent cakes. There we go. There we go. Right. So, sugar skeletons. Just a bit of a pain monster, really. So, what else have we got? If they get hit by burning alcohol, they turn blue. Well, that would illuminate the dungeon for you, wouldn't it? That would create a soothing flame and look very, very pretty. Right. We've already got a flaming pumpkin, Brian. So I like the idea of a scarecrow monster. But if we go away from flames, something else. That was what I put in. If damaged by fire, they melt to form treacle, which sticks to flesh and burns for 1d6 per round, save for breath weapon to avoid.
It's a lot of fiery, burny stuff going on.
Yeah, there is. That's why I've said to Brian's suggestion of the flaming scarecrow. I like the idea of a scarecrow monster, but something that does something a little bit different.
You could do a scarecrow that is also like a viney tangle monster. Like, like he's looks like a scarecrow, but he's got like tendrils, like squash plant type tendrils, sort of pumpkin vine kind of thing going on. So he's still kind of thematic, but instead of flames, maybe he has the ability to like kind of do a tangle effect and strangulation.
Possibly. Like a Cthulhu scarecrow with squid face. No, Brian's got a good suggestion here. Yeah. In fact, we could have a range of monsters. Actually, you know how they did werewolves and golems, all different types?
Yeah. So, I mean...
Okay. Let's do a range of different types of scarecrows. We'll start with a vine one, then we'll have a sonic scarecrow.
So I made one for my campaign setting that it looked like a scarecrow from a distance, but it was actually a mobile swarm of insects.
Right.
So we can just call it like a swarm.
A swarm scare. Okay.
So it's like, it. And what's funny is I made it way back in the day. It was actually based on, a comic book monster, and then nowadays we have Oogie Boogie from, Nightmare Before Christmas. Who is basically just a big bunch of sackcloth full of bugs. So similar effect there.
Here's another one. I'm just call it inverted for now, but I'll come to that when we come to it. Right. So the vine scarecrow. You
sound like a really bad British accent in a movie there.
Scarecrow. Okay. Let's work on the vine one to begin with.
No, it's a modern scarecrow. It's a squarecrow.
Squarecrow. Right. Cup of tea's now cold. I only made it 40 minutes ago. Right. I don't think scarecrows are going to have. I think the swarm scarecrow might have a decent armor class because
your blade goes right through it or whatever.
Yeah. But
you could even give it an immunity. Like you can hit it, but like edged weapons go right through or whatever.
There we go. That's a good. I think I'm going to just change these bits here where.
Yep.
Because I copied and pasted this lots of times, which is not really good. Hasn't worked properly. Right. Okay. So yeah, vine scarecrows. You've got to hit the right bit, but still, something like that.
They'll probably have like a central mass that's holding
Yeah,
most of it up. So
a bit fleshy and squishy.
yeah.
Okay. Now, I can see these having a decent number of hit dice.
Well, they're probably going to be solo monsters, so you'd want them to.
Okay. Is that too many?
5 hit die? Depends on what kind of menace you want them to be. I mean, if they're a tough opponent at 5, then 5 hit dice sounds right.
I'm gonna drop it to 4. Drop it to 4. I think 4 is that. 4 is that nice mid-range. Right. Number of attacks. This is where they're going to be. I think they can have multiple attacks, but I think it's going to be quite random. So number of attacks, 1d4.
For all the wriggling tentacles and stuff, or tendrils of their
Yes.
vininess.
I don't think they'll do a lot of damage, but I think they'll grab hold and continue to do damage.
Yeah, you could do you could give them an effect similar to the entanglement spell,
or a constriction type effect as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, you could technically give them the option for both. That way they have some tactical options, especially if they're going to be a solo monster. They could do the entanglement in an area, thereby limiting the party, and then they could give them the constriction once they actually score a successful hit on an opponent.
Yeah. I think that's damage. I think on a hit, the damage will only be 1. The damage, but the main damage will be entanglement and constriction.
Yeah.
Hello, Cody. Hello, Doof. Hello, Michael. People piling in now.
All of the people.
Yes, yes. Movement is not going to be particularly quick. I think this is going to be their weakness. Morale, I can see them being pretty fearless. Neutral. 1. I have a feeling we're going to need to put some things in that are going to have some form of treasure. So
can make it to where they reclothe themselves in the garb and the gear of the people they kill. So over time, there's sort of a tattered mix of, old rusty swords, but the occasional magic dagger or a pouch full of gems that kind of have treasure. So like low grade treasure with a possibility of having a magic item would make them a rewarding monster to fight despite all of their danger.
So I'm going to say 50%, 1d4 gems, 10% magic. And that's fair. Right, the Sonic Scarecrow. This is the one that Brian has suggested.
I think it should have a fear effect at least for a screech.
Yes.
A fear effect, but also a damaging, scream kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
I think
almost Banshee-esque, but without save versus death.
Well, you save versus spells or flee.
Yeah,
it'll do. For example, 1d6 damage to anyone who hears it. Save versus spells or flee. There we go.
There you go.
I think not slightly better armor class. Power wise, I don't know. About the same. I'll call it a howl.
Make it a cackle instead of a howl. Very Halloween-y.
Yeah.
Okay. A really crazy Scooby-Doo space kook cackle.
I'm going to say anything within 30 feet. 1d6 plus fear. I think that's about that. That's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's, and these are going to be a lot quicker. I think all the scarecrows are going to be.
Yeah, pretty much unstoppable because they're all magical weirdness.
I'm going to put that as chaotic. I think the idea of that small amount of gems and magic is going to be the same for all of them.
Sounds good, unless we come up with one that just doesn't make sense.
The swarm
Yeah.
one, right? This is the one where your scarecrow is made out of a load of creepy crawlies.
Yep, it's basically a human-shaped bug swarm. Now, my original version was they basically grew up around the evil bones of criminals that were basically left in the ground to fester, and their hate gathered the insects and vermin. So, hit die, we can go with the 4, same as all of them.
Okay.
The attack that they had when I made them was if they hit, they engulf. They did an engulf attack.
Yep.
Basically, they would swarm over the enemy and kind of take hold and start doing damage per turn.
Okay. So it's attack 1, damage. Would it cause effectively blindness and lack of mobility and things like that?
I mean, you could do that, or you could make it, if you really wanted to make it simple, you could do X number of damage and then maybe like a save versus poison, because bitey, stingy.
Okay.
Or paralysis,
Poison. We'll put here poison varies because the DM can choose what sort of poison they want.
Yeah.
Damage from the bites. I don't think the damage is going to be that great.
Yeah, insect swarms generally do only like what, 1d3, something like that.
Yeah,
if that.
It's the poison damage that
will get you. Yeah.
I mean, it could be extra damage. It could be sickness poison. It could be paralysis. It could be all sorts.
Yeah.
It could be all sorts. Shall we say immune to bladed weapons?
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Okay.
I would put them in the movement back to similar to the vine one though, because they're kind of a shambly, creepy thing. If we were writing up full descriptions of them, I would, they make a buzzing sound as they approach, kind of thing. But yeah.
And I think these would have treasure type nil.
Yeah, because it would just kind of slough off. The only thing they're really keeping probably is, the clothes, the fabric that binds them.
Right. So the last one, this inverted one, it does the opposite of what a scarecrow does. It summons birds.
Oh, that's a cool one.
That was my idea for this one.
How about you call it a crow caller?
Crow caller. There we go. Actually,
a murder scarecrow.
I was just going to put an unscarecrow. A not scarecrow.
There you go.
See
Later,
you,
RPG Grandma.
Thanks for the input. Thanks for the input. I'm going to have to just adjust your
columns there.
My columns, yes. Come on. Move! It doesn't want to move my left-hand one. That's really rather annoying. What have I just done?
Uh-oh. Have you destroyed everything?
No, it's because I'm using Notepad and not... It won't let me move my column further to the left. How do I make more space here? Don't know.
Shrink the font size?
Yeah, I'm going to shrink the font. I'm going to shrink the fonts for these. That's a good idea. No. Let's go to 12 then. All right. No, tabbing still, it's a bit annoying. Okay. I thought this could be a little bit weaker than the others. Just going to move that. Look at these lines up again. I've lost my lining up. Slightly annoying. Oh well. Trying to ask too much from WordPad. Right. It'll do a simple basic claw. Special.
Cloud of ravens. Cloud of crows.
Yeah. This is going to have to go to... don't know how I'm going to fit this in. I'm just going to put summon. The idea here is that it can summon rows or cravens, different percentages, chances, and different numbers, which will fight for it to the death.
Yeah.
So you just have to imagine the formatting, because the formatting is knackered. I did try to do this in a table form, then I realized that WordPad doesn't have a table option in it, which is no good. Let's put this in the middle somewhere. I think neutral again for this one.
I would give this one a slightly better treasure because crows like shiny things.
Yes. So I'm just gonna say 1d4 gems. It's always got 1d4 gems. There we go. There we go. So there's some scarecrows, and I think they would do a half decent job.
Absolutely.
I can't use a spreadsheet on this computer, Brian, because I haven't got any Office software on this machine whatsoever. I'm keeping it clean for games and internet. That's it. That's it. It's my streaming machine. Oh, my other machine's just there. That's got all the working type stuff on. Right. So there we go. So Doofer said a scarecrow actually scares crows. I think the Sonic one would do that. Sonic Scarecrow definitely would.
Probably, because it causes fear.
Yes.
Let's see.
So far we've been over 48 minutes on this stream, and already we've got burning pumpkins, we've got various scarecrows, and we've got
sugar skeletons.
A sugary skeleton. So RPG Grandma's last suggestion before she went was shrunken apple heads.
On the ground in apple orchards or around apple trees, swarm and bite, damage, poison. Okay. I didn't think what else.
Would this the apple heads themselves wouldn't be the monster, but the tree would.
How about a tree that is an apple tree, but if you eat the fruit, your soul gets pulled into the apple, which then shrinks up into a little shrunken head and drops to the ground, or drops to the ground where you ate it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful.
What's funny is I can think of this as a potential role-playing encounter too, as maybe the little apples are like moaning and like creepy. They're like, meh, and you could maybe like talk to them, using necromantic magic. Speak with
yeah. Let's make this nice and creepy now. Let's make this nice and creepy. Okay, so what's this going to be? The Soul Tree. Now, this, what sort of armor class a treant would have?
Oh, good lord.
It's about 4, isn't it? 4 or 5-ish.
It's pretty high because they're a tree.
It's medium because they've got thick bark.
Yeah.
So medium sort of armor class. Okay. I think this is going to have a fair few more hit dice.
Yeah, because you want it to be
8 to 10.
Be something that's almost like a central monster.
Yeah.
Or at least a major obstacle.
Okay. So, number of attacks.
We could always call it a lich tree and say that the souls that are absorbed through the apples are what are keeping the tree alive and make it grow. And then killing the tree will free the souls. So suddenly your party has like a bunch of freed souls that are all friendly and happy, depending on if they're good. Could just be a bunch of snarly goblins who got too hungry, but
as I say, if their bodies though have been used as fertilizer for the tree, yeah, they're gonna time for some reincarnation spells. They can come back as a lizard man or a pixie
or a squirrel if it's a druid's reincarnation.
Yes. Okay. Number of attacks.
0. It doesn't.
Yes.
It doesn't attack. It lures. It's got sweet, glistening, yummy, delicious-looking apples.
Yes. Apples. If
sweet,
eaten,
red candy-colored apples.
If eaten, save versus spells.
What happens if you eat them? Maybe something good, maybe something bad, but you'll never know.
Save versus spells or soul sucked into apple. Body consumed.
Yeah, you could have it to where the body just like rots away immediately and just kind of, in the old classic gory comic book sense of the kind of thing, the soul gets into the apple.
Shall we say, okay, body consumed by tree in 2d4 rounds.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Body falls to the ground, soul sucked into the apple, and then the ground starts to slowly kind of work the body into the soil.
Yes. Not. Well, not applicable. It's a tree.
Yep, it's not like it could run away if it wanted to.
Alignment. Utterly neutral. It just wants to exist.
Yeah, either that or it's chaotic. I mean, it's evil. It's an actual evil tree. I mean, it is consuming souls.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So we could make the tree somewhat intelligent, like even if it's not like a treant tree.
I'm gonna put here neutral. The way they used to do it
with the evil tendencies.
Yeah, neutral brackets, evil. Yes, treasure.
Probably a shit ton under the soil.
Yeah. So they use treasure types, don't they? An average sort of treasure type.
Average treasure type should be. Yeah. Hold on just a second.
Treasure type A is very much a default, isn't it?
All right. I'm not familiar with treasure types off the top of my head, but like I don't have them committed to memory.
No, I know A's very average.
So we could do average, or we could do it slightly better. I mean, we don't have to fill in the exact thing here. We could just put a note as to what kind. Then you could go look it up later on.
Yeah. Treasure. I'm just going to put significant because but you have to dig for it.
But that also makes such a deadly tree rewarding for the party as well. So because if they can kill it, they're going to get some XP out of all the treasure they recover, as well as useful stuff.
Yeah. Double damage taken from axes.
I don't know. Treants don't take double damage from axes. I mean, cutting a tree is sort of the normal damage for an axe. So.
Yeah, but they've got more heft behind them.
Have them do double damage from fire.
Yeah.
They're flammable. And then his lights went out.
Yes. Okay. What happens if you eat an apple that has somebody else's soul in it?
Now you're almost asking for a random table. Get out of possession. I mean, if I was trying to do that as a boon, I would give them of course we're talking about BX here, so it's you could make it simply, eat an apple, get a +1, +2, or whatever on a roll in the future, which could reflect whatever knowledge or skills or whatever that apple had. Or you can have it heal.
I don't see it as a boon. I see it as possibly gaining schizophrenia.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to go that route. You could actually here's an easy way to do it. Eating the apple causes the same effect as a confusion spell.
That's a good idea.
Because you end up, even if it's not schizophrenia, you suddenly have the spirit of that's trapped in the apple, or the spirit's been consumed by the portion of basically it's the fragment of the soul that ends up in you and causing confusion.
10% of apples already contain souls.
Well, wasn't it the ones that were all shriveled and looked like a face were the ones that have already been affected?
That's the 10%.
Yeah. So if somebody's dumb enough to try and eat the face apple,
yeah.
I don't know about you, but if I find an old crusty looking apple that looks like a shrunken face, I'm not going to eat it. But there's always that one player. I'm going to eat the funky face apple. Nothing bad could happen from that.
Yes. Hello, Andy. Sounds like a demonic triffid. Yeah. Why not? Create a parasite that works alongside this tree.
I would leave that open. Monster team ups. I mean, there are very few. There are instances where they are written into the rules, but I find leaving monsters pretty much open to be paired up.
Commonly,
I would say they would be found with zombies and skeletons from the buried dead.
Commonly encountered with 1d4 zombies or skeletons, or 2d6.
There you go.
There we go.
I could just see a party coming upon one of those trees and seeing that it's got a bunch of zombies and skeletons meandering around it, and thinking that, oh, they're guarding some sort of awesome tree. They go in and kill the zombies and skeletons. It's like, I'm gonna grab the fruit and eat it, and then things go bad. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, General Nut says treasure type A is a chance of anything. Yeah, it's that sort of. It's a very sort of open treasure type. It can be lots. It can be very little. It's.
yeah.
There we go. I think that tree. That tree is quite. It's quite. I'd rather like that one. So yes, and so some of the apples, Brian, will look like shrunken heads, and they will be the ones that already contain souls.
Yeah, so they'll cause confusion if you eat them. Suppose we should determine how well it'll be the effect of a confusion spell. So
Yes. Yes.
forever, whatever the duration is on a confusion spell. All right, cool. So that's another monster down.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any cool suggestions?
We're flying through these. Absolutely flying.
I feel like Halloween's almost kind of a cheat, because Halloween's, you can always just go straight horror, and then if you can find a way to make it whimsical and weird, then you're even better.
I do want to get this moment for a quick shill. I'd like to run a game of Call of Cthulhu on Halloween this year. So if anybody wants to play Call of Cthulhu next Tuesday, it is Halloween night. I'd like to run a game. If you're available, let me know.
Next Tuesday, I'm probably working, so. No, wait. It's Tuesday. I won't be working. I have Tuesdays off. I'm just so used to saying I'll probably be working, because nobody ever wants to play anything when I'm actually available. Hold on just a second. Come on, guys. What suggestions do you got?
Time across the usual sort of time, Nutty. It would be starting around 7 p.m. my time, which would be afternoon your time. Yeah, I would create pre-generated characters, and I don't know whether I'd try and write something or run something that's published. If I can find something suitable that fits. I don't know.
Here's your Call of Cthulhu adventure. A neighborhood is terrorized by a bunch of ghoul children going out trick-or-treating.
Yeah, I think too many of my recent Call of Cthulhu games have had kids in, so I don't want to develop a reputation.
You could flip it around and run one of the Call of Cthulhu type scenarios. If you've seen that subset of Cthulhu rules, it's called Call of Cthulhu.
Right.
And it's cool because it's designed. The one adventure that I've seen published for it comes with a full-blown actual Call of Cthulhu version, and then the Kid Cthulhu version where it's still spooky and scary, but your skill sets are simplified. For example, anything that involves getting into trouble is called like playing with matches, and stuff like that. And the scenario they wrote is still creepy as hell,
Right.
but it's designed for playing kid characters in a Cthulhu type setting, which might be perfect for a Halloween one, because it could be kids out trick or treating and then comic hilarity ensues, or on a dare, because the scenario I'm talking about is a dare. Kids get dared to stay in a house overnight, so it's another spooky house adventure. I'll send you a link for it when I can find it later on.
But you've probably read it, so you couldn't play.
Well, that's true, but but I'm saying if you're looking for something.
Yeah. We shall see. Right. Okay, over to you, chat. Seth Skorkowski did a thing on it, so that's worth looking up. That's worth
Yeah,
looking up.
he did
Because,
one, and there's his coverage is pretty good on it. Of course, his coverage on everything is really solid.
yeah. He sort of really cornered the Call of Cthulhu market because he's good at what he does. Simple as that.
Well, he puts a lot of work into it too.
He does, yeah.
So, all right, he's the guy who got me playing Call of Cthulhu. Honestly, watching his videos is what broke that "oh, everybody dies and everybody goes insane" thing that I've been hearing for decades. That made me like go, "Oh, great! Why would I want to play this game?" I mean,
You're meant to die quickly or go insane quickly in a one shot.
you are, yeah, but I mean, that's not the only thing to the game. I mean, honestly, the way that it always got, and I've told this story before, but the
Yeah.
way it always got it got so oversimplified by anybody, player or keeper that I would talk to, that it may as well have been just diminished to something like Paranoia, where it's just kind of a for shits and giggles game. And watching his coverage, watching Seth's coverage of the rule system, and then watching his reviews of the scenarios, I'm like, there's a lot more going on here. There's tons more going on here than I ever got. As somebody who back in the day was sort of on the fence of jumping out of my sci-fi and fantasy area, that game was the one that jumped off the shelf because it was always there. But if you hear nothing but flat reviews of it, why would you want to play it? It's like if somebody told you that D&D was all about going into dungeons trying to get treasure but dying. Yeah.
It's not.
But yes, that can happen, but there's a lot more going on,
Yeah.
And that's what, so yeah, but the point is his videos are good, and they're compelling enough to where they broke, 30 some odd, 40 some odd years worth of prejudice against the game. So
yeah. I mean, I check out it if I'm planning on running a scenario that he's covered. I always check out things he's said about it first, for little suggestions.
Yeah, his suggestions are really solid, and he's good at pointing out, because he doesn't review anything that he hasn't run before. He's good at pointing out where the module needs help, the scenario needs help, like down to the simple things like this thing isn't even marked on the map, but it's there. So
I recently ran Ladybug Fly Away Home, and there's a section in that which he suggested expanding, and I did just that. I didn't do it exactly the way he suggested, but
it gives you an idea of where it could be expanded and where it might need some work.
It, yeah.
I've got that one that I picked up, the pipeline, and it hasn't been reviewed by him, but I picked it up and I'm looking through it. I'm like, I wish I could have had a solid review on this one, because the scenario is really somebody who has so it's put out by a group, by a publisher who, as we diverted to talking about Call of Cthulhu for a bit, a publisher who does a lot of environmental source books, really detailed source books on how to play out environments, Arctic, jungle, forest, mountain, right? And so this pipeline scenario for Call of Cthulhu is a Call of Cthulhu scenario that is heavily drawing from those products that they make. I mean, it's included it's self-contained, but it's clearly somebody's like, I have all this stuff, I could probably write a Call of Cthulhu adventure about it. But then the Call of Cthulhu adventure part of it is not very solid. So it would need some work. I mean, it has the potential to be solid, but it is a bit of a mythos hoedown. So,
right. General Nuts, I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I've mostly run one shots for General Nuts, so he knows my attitude towards picking particularly gruesome and brutal one shots to make one shot sessions or 2 or 3 session games have a big sort of finale. I know it took us 9 or 10 sessions to finish the Blood Red Fez, and General Nuts' character survived. In fact, only one character died. One character and one NPC in the finale. my D&D DMing. Do you know that since that first session, since those first couple of sessions, everyone's calmed down and nobody's died for ages. Nobody's died for ages, and that's purely because play has become more careful. There've been more deaths in Gingerbeard's game than in my game now.
Yeah, well, D&D. One of the things I always, D&D is just, it's dangerous by default and deadly by stupidity. It's generally the most deadly when players are not taking care. But it's always dangerous because, at least in older editions, it's always dangerous because your hit point, and your power level is low.
Yeah. I mean, it was a small group of goblins that caused the first fatalities in my game. Just a small group of goblins. That's all it was. Random encounter.
A group of goblins with a party against a party is kind of a one-on-one, even Steven's kind of a fight. I mean, a goblin is about the equivalent of a first level character.
Yeah.
All right. So we need more monsters, folks. I got an hour before I got to go. Let's get some of that. Then it's going to be Geek all on his own.
In my game, there were 2 deaths to goblins. There was one, a pet died to kobolds, and 1 character nearly died. 1 death to fire beetles, and 1 death to a giant lizard.
Giant lizards are nasty, though.
Yes, General Nut, 2 of the characters have died in the MERP game in consecutive sessions, both due to extreme critical hits. Yes. Numbers 80, 90, 100, 110, and 120 on the critical hit tables are brutal. Absolutely brutal. And I'm afraid 2 of those cropped up in consecutive sessions. Yes, Dernhelm and Finnar both passed away. Second level Noldor Elf Warrior, and first level, almost second level Rohirrim Warrior. Fighting couple of fairly strong hillmen. Anyway, let's have a think.
All right, so what do we got? Scarecrows, we got skeletons, we've got flying pumpkins.
Dirty History and Hobbies has got a good suggestion here.
Okay.
Okay. So, this monster. Right. Let's think about what sort of basic stats to start with. Goosedra. So that would be, I think that's more of a Christmas thing, though.
Oh yeah, just talking about the Goose Hydra we did for the Christmas one.
Yes, yeah, we did a Goose Hydra for the Christmas thing, the Christmas one. Yeah, so and this is more Halloween. So
we got the masquerade that we're doing.
So this is a costume. It's a evil sentient costume. It does like a magic jar spell type thing. Well, like the Executioner's Hood in AD&D. Do you remember that?
Yeah, where it flies down onto your head and then it tries to eat your head, right?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking the Dark Mantle?
The Executioner's Hood's quite similar in that sense.
Yeah, and it's one of those monsters that's like, okay, it's on the guy's head now. How are you going to kill it without killing the guy wearing it?
I'd imagine this monster's going to be exactly the same.
Pretty much.
So I'm not going to make it particularly tough or hard to hit. So let's put a special move as per host. If a masquerade is donned, the individual doing so must save versus spells or be possessed by the spirit of the costume. Hello, Crafting Gamer. How you doing? Spirit of the costume. Changing alignment to chaotic and bringing about an overwhelming desire to perform pranks their associates. The wearer will also crave sugary food and will become enraged if how long? An 8-hour period?
You could do it an 8-hour period, or you could do it till like remove curse is cast.
I'm thinking that they've got to be. It's got to be, yeah.
Like it's got to be sated. Its desire for candy.
Right. If is not consumed within 1 hour. Damage taken is shared 50-50 with the host. Host. I'm going to put here will become berserk. So it will attack anybody. Oh, so. Damage taken is shared 50-50 with the host. Remove curse. Oops. Will free the victim. The masquerade will depart at dawn the next day.
Okay, so yeah, it's just a temporary affectation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So remove curse will free the victim. So yeah, it's a temporary threat.
Yeah, it's kind of a nuisance monster at worst. Yeah.
Yes. It's the sort of thing where you tell the player they have to be belligerent. They have to become a pain in the backside to the party.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And so any attempts to be quiet, any attempts to placate a monster, they have to sort of interfere and ruin it.
Yeah, so they kind of become this weird candy party animal. Almost like imagine they're basically getting possessed by the spirit of the holiday. It's all about good fun and pranks and candy, and so
they won't take any situations seriously.
Yeah, sort of like in a Christmas context, it would be like getting possessed by the spirit of good cheer, where everything's just joyful and you just want to be friends with everybody. And
yeah, and imagine if you're possessed with that and you walk into a funeral.
Exactly. Or you walk into that room full of orcs and you try and get them into a nice round of a drinking song instead of
Absolutely.
The orcs are looking at you like, what? And you're like, let's sing. Or trick or treat.
And it can be adjusted slightly by depending on what the costume is.
Yeah.
It gives a bit of flexibility. It's a bit of fun. Yeah, a mouse mask would cause the man to crawl around a room sneakily looking for cheese. It could be anything like that. Anything like that. Chaotic, definitely. You'd only find one. And these wouldn't have any treasure. I don't think so, anyway. They're just a complete troll creature. Marvellous. Marvellous. I like that.
All right.
Mark Hockman reckons we should additional effect that wearing it aggravates any fey being that sees it. I will say it would aggravate almost any being that sees it. It's the job of the player to do the aggravating now.
Yeah, it's turning you into a kind of a chaotic jerk.
Yeah. So one of my favorite magic items is the Ring of Contrariness. Absolutely love them. Let's go left. No, I'm going right. Okay, we'll go right with you. No, I'm going left now.
Yes.
Well, it's one of my favorite magic items. Absolutely love it. Let's be quiet.
Trying to think of some other Halloween themed things.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty. The thing is, there's so many monsters that could easily fit into the theme already out of D&D. I mean,
yes, there are.
Will-o'-the-Wisp, ghost lights, any kind of that stuff, Let's see.
I mean, you've got your werewolves, your vampires, all that sort of things. Very witches and whatever, all very Halloweeny anyway.
All kinds of ghosts,
Yeah. Poltergeists are very Halloweeny. So we could have a really nasty version of that, which would be pretty much like the film Halloween.
Oh God. You're talking about like the second one or like the Michael Myers one?
you know that the William Shatner mask that Michael Myers wears. Have
it to where it turns you into a psycho killer?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's kind of the greater version of that, or a variant. So we have the rapscallion mask, and then we have the killer mask.
Yes. But all those variants are possible there for the masquerade. So I think we've got that. I think I've got that one nailed. But the berserkness is there anyway. I mean, if you don't feed the person sweet things within an hour, they're going to go berserk and attack the rest of the party.
Yeah, I mean, if you were writing this up as an actual monster listing, you could put that in as like a second one and talk about there are more extreme versions of this.
Yes, that will cause a craving for human flesh and things like that.
Exactly.
Yes. That's where things get dark.
Let's see.
Right. More ideas. For those who haven't been here since the start, we'll just quickly run through everything we've had so far. We've had the Pyro Pumpkin, a flying pumpkin that spits flaming seeds. The Sugar Skeleton, which hypnotize, do very little. But if you damage them by fire, they melt, which sticks to you and burns. Do you see what I put as the treasure for that one? Treasure type none, but their sugary bones can be used to make excellent cakes. Various types of scarecrow. They were quite interesting. The Lich Tree. They suck your soul. Only if you eat their apples. And the Masquerade. Again, these are ones that they punish the unwary. Of course, the Masquerade, it doesn't have to be donned willingly. A bad guy could always put a character in a masquerade. Right. Here's one based on the Japanese yokai known as the Itan Momon. A swarm of rolls of tissue paper that fly around during the night, attacking people by wrapping the paper around them until they're unable to move.
Yeah, Japanese mythology is just full of some really fun ones. Honestly, if you're thinking about like Halloween pranks, it's like the TP monster basically. Because there's the tricks on Halloween where you TP somebody's house or throw eggs at their house. So it's kind of got that going on here with the Itan Moment.
I mean, there's also the variant where the toilet paper could be used.
Wow, that's just going too far. Now you're just going into gross rather than fun, than fun and funny.
A bit of gross. Was the one with a bit of gross?
No. Let's see. It's really hard to think of like Halloween themed ones.
Okay.
Oh, hey, my buddy showed up. Adric Storm.
He's been here a while. He was suggesting things for.
Oh yeah, I was seeing that earlier, but let's see.
Okay, well let's go with the let's go with that paper one.
Okay.
It's another one that's going to entangle and constrict, though, isn't it? Really, immobilize. What would we call it? Tissue terror. Trick or treaters. Well, they are a monster. They are, yes. They will. You are unable to rest on the night of Halloween because you get a constant barrage of kids approaching your camp, demanding your rations off you.
You could actually make some sort of weird, creepy, like fae or hag-born children that go around and will approach the party out of the blue, asking for candy, and if something goes wrong, then they'll do something like you could have them like try to snag the players into their bag, which puts them in the little pocket dimension of nightmares or something.
I don't know if I'm going to have to reset my link box because I've suddenly got the wobbling connection thing.
Oh.
And I'm not on Wi-Fi anymore.
I'm gonna need to get going too because I got to get ready for my thing. So.
Okay. Let's go with the Fae children.
All right. I'm gonna have to bounce out now. I'm getting pulled
Okay.
away actually. It's been fun. Later, folks. Lots of good monster stuff.
Cheers, Elfmate.
I'm gonna watch the rest of the stream and see what you guys come up with. There'll be a quiz later. But later,
If
folks.
anyone else wants to join me on the stream, the link is in the Discord. So if you'd like to join me and just help me come up with some ideas for monsters, because that's what we're focusing on. You've got to click on my Discord, and there's a link in the stream invite section. And as long as I recognize your name as being someone who's been in chat, you can come in and join me. Come in and join me. And, you don't have to have a camera, but you have to have a voice. Right, Fey children, trick or treaters. These are going to be little small humans-ish. Okay. Number of attacks. Potentially 1 damage by weapon small. Let's get rid of these. Let's have a look at these. What specials they could have. Okay. So what do we think for the Fey children? Demand treasure or we have a Ma Hockman. Hello, Ma Hockman. How are you doing?
Oh, well, what thing that might be interesting with
You're very quiet.
Oh, sorry. One thing that might be interesting with the whole Fey children thing is if having them do like this sort of like
I'm just gonna have to turn my volume up. Just bear with me, because you're very quiet on mine. What was that, Ian? I've put my volume up by about 20%, so I should be able to hear you a bit better now.
Well, one thing that I kind of mentioned in chat was the whole idea of like having the whole Fey trick or treating do a sort of like a transformation if you refuse them, so that they look harmless and innocent, and then they turn into some sort of monster before they actually try to fight you.
Right, okay. But they demand treasure first. If you give them treasure, you placate them.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I think that's a good idea. So demand treasure or transform. Right. Okay. So what do we reckon they're going to transform into?
Yeah. Well, the examples that I thought of are from a video game called Champions Online. Their Halloween event has trick or treat monsters that are mostly just like standard horror tropes, like like vampires, werewolves, and stuff like that. But
Right.
like they look like humans in funny costumes, and then they transform if they get angry at you.
Okay. I'm thinking of something specific for these, though. And I'm thinking of something like a demonic hound. Transform into a demonic hound because Brian says something that bites ankles. So I was thinking a demonic hound will do that.
Yeah, that could work. It's like the entire list. Let's say one of them's a werewolf, it's a vampire, mummy, a Mothman. That might be an idea you could go with.
One of a variety of creatures. Okay. For example, a small ghoul, perhaps, or a demonic hound, which would be a half-sized hellhound, or similar. Yeah, something like that. And you can. It's up to the DM to decide what they switch into.
Yeah.
Move.
I mean, you could even do a dice roll on an encounter chart.
You could do, yes. Now these are children, so do you think a shaking fist and pulling a grumpy face might get them to run away?
Maybe.
I don't know. It's a fairly low morale, but they are chaotic because kids are very chaotic. Number appearing, I think 3d4 a gang, often with an adult who tuts. And the treasure, they're likely to have some ill-gotten gains. So 2d6. And if someone's been generous, there you go. I think that. Yes. If anything's taken off them, morale hits 12. Yes. But there we go. Fey children, trick or treaters, or whatever applicable to transformation. There we go. Yes, a demonic pug, a hell pug. Okay, there we go. Oh, the trick or treaters, the Fey children. Right. So, trickster Fey, yes, they would be. But trick or treaters. Right. Okay. Next one. Kids bite. Yeah. A small, a demonic pug, hell pug. Perfect. Right. More ideas. Karen. Is that the mother?
The idea that comes into my mind trying to come up with something that's brand new involves having fallen leaves turning into a monster of some sort.
Because it's autumn.
Yes.
We've already got something in the form of a shambling mound. Could easily be put forward as a pile of leaves, couldn't it?
Yeah, it's like so something that's kind of akin to like a slime almost. It's just like this mass moving around, except it's made out of dead leaves instead of leaves.
Okay. So, dead leaf vortex. We could have a dead leaf vortex, and we could also have an autumnal ooze. Autumnal ooze. It would have a very bad armor class. And I think it would be variable in terms of size. 1d4 hit dice, I think. Depending on the stage. Early autumn might only be a one hit dice creature. Late autumn, when all the trees are really gooey on the ground, it could be 4 hit dice. 1, and I think damage would be 1d4 per hit die. There we go. So that could be very easy early in the autumn. But right, what sort of specials would they have? Because monsters have to have specials. I like monsters with specials. They're boring without. I've got one.
I mean,
But
the idea. Okay, for autumnal ooze. Oh,
I have to say that when I was a kid, whenever I'd stamp in piles of leaves, I was the unfortunate one to tread on the hidden dog shit.
Yeah, that'll do it. Sure. Well, see, one of the observations I made as a small child with dead leaves is that when the wind blows leaves around in a like neatly mowed lawn, for example,
Yeah.
what does it accumulate around and form a pile from? Yeah, there's something in there that's not, wind blown debris.
So what are we saying?
I don't know, like your example of dog excrement is certainly one that I actually have seen. But like, I don't know, like other random objects was a possibility too. Like one place I actually had an issue with involved small tree stumps. Why this place had small tree stumps, I'm not sure, but it did, and they would make these like little winter vortex things where things would just accumulate around them. And if you didn't know that there was a tree stump there, you would trip on it if you tried
Yeah,
walking.
if you ran into and tried to kick the pile of leaves, you'd break your toes. Yes.
But that doesn't really fit with something that would move though. So,
No, no.
but
They could easily.
like a fallen stick though would also have a similar effect, I guess.
I mean, General not suggesting a ghoul, so they could easily hide undead.
Hmm. Oh, right, like undead who, whenever they're not active, as a method of disguising themselves, just have a shroud of leaves form over them.
Yes, and they work in a symbiosis with the leaves. Ghouls know that humans will always be drawn to a big pile of leaves to
It's like
scatter them around.
it's actually one of those things that some of the zombie survival computer games have tinkered with. Is the idea that some zombies, because of their uh, age and because they've been undead for months or years even, have started to they still shamble around, but they have things trying to grow out of them. So if they're not moving, well, you might notice a bunch of leaves and maybe flowers instead of a zombie, especially if they lay down.
Yes, I think the ooze would move very slowly. Movement rate. I think we're talking 10-foot tops.
Maybe.
Number appearing 1 plus, shall we say, 50% chance of concealing one undead treasure. The undead might have some incidental. So deadly vortex. How would a deadly vortex work?
Well, I
This
mean,
is the not.
if it's a leaf vortex, um, have you ever seen whirlwinds
Yeah.
swirling around fallen leaves? Just like
Yes.
that, but it kind of like tries to pull you into the whirlwind.
Okay. There is a creature in the Fiend Folio called the Vortex. Would it work similar to that?
Maybe. I don't remember how that particular fiend works though, but
It's a fairly low-powered monster, but it can suck you in, and it can. You have a. If you're trapped in a vortex, you have a chance of dying every round. Yes, I think it'd be a leaf version of the vortex. Simple as that. Yeah, I think that would be a because of course we can adapt existing monsters like the vortex from the Fiend Folio can be presented as a mass of swirling leaves.
Oh yeah, it's like the Brian James says like when you aggro it, you hear this sound of howling wind as it's swirling towards you.
Yeah. We could definitely present the vortex in the Fiend Folio in this manner, and I think
But
that would be
of course, there's also the thing. It's like you look at an empty field. The field has several pounds of dead leaves scattered around, as if they've been blown from the forest by the wind. Oh, and yeah, now it's coming after you.
Yes, and if you enter the field, all the piles of leaves all swirl up, and they are vortexes. And yes, they could have a confusion effect. But I like the idea of a signature sound as they
Actually,
whirl up.
there's the confusion aspect. You could simply present it in a way that the player isn't certain if it's the leaves themselves attacking you or an enemy hiding nearby that using magic.
Yeah. So the players themselves don't know what to target now. Is it a version like a Dust Devil spell, creating these little vortexes that are attacking you, or are they monsters by themselves? Yeah, I mean I think in terms of being a separate monster, the Deadleaf Vortex would just be like a vortex from the
Yeah, just like a variant that's
a variant.
rethemed
Yeah,
slightly.
yeah. I don't have my Fiend Folio to hand though, so I think it's a great idea, but I'm just gonna. I would use the vortex from the Fiend Folio and just present it differently, different sounds and stuff. More ideas. Come on, chat. Come on, Marhole. Give me inspiration. Things that Halloween where you are is a lot bigger thing than over here. We do get trick-or-treaters, we do get costumes available in shops, but it's not as big. Nowhere near as big a thing. Bonfire Night's bigger.
In the US, it's actually one of those things where the reality is that it's actually not that big of a deal in the it's not as big of a deal to the actual people as it is to the corporations selling crap.
Yeah.
Like for several months, they're like, "Hey, here, but buy Halloween stuff," and people are like, "Oh, it's Halloween flavored candy. That's nice."
Yeah, or should we go to a party or something like that?
But one of the things that occurred to me is like there's this old line about how Halloween has witches and vampires and ghouls and things that go bump in the night, like an ethereal threat that we're trying to figure out where it is challenging.
Elfbait clearly likes his Halloween by the looks of things. What did you dress up as last Halloween, Elfbait? People do up their houses for Halloween. Well, people do up their houses for Christmas here. Not so much for Halloween. They don't.
Like there's the old thing of like caroling for Christmas. That is a big thing. Some places just don't bother.
We get a few carol singers around occasionally, but that's died a bit of a death.
Yes, like so certain groups of people who like doing it, but it's not like everyone does it. It's like a handful of people who feel like doing it.
Elfbait says his house has Halloween decorations up all year to one degree or another. That's just because you're a nerd and you like to paint monsters and stuff like that. I mean, you could argue that I like playing spooky horror games all the year round as well. That's true. That's true. Halloween decorations come down, Christmas goes up. Yeah, I suppose that's. I mean, shops over here selling Christmas stuff already. We haven't even had Halloween and bonfire night yet.
Oh, that thing Dirty History and Hobby said I think he's talking about the leaf vortex. Is there's a tiny solid sphere that is inside the vortex as part of the entering the fiend folio.
Oh, so right, okay.
So I guess for the default version, you would target the solid sphere in order to kill it. Whereas for the leaf version, you would actually have to like destroy the leaves themselves, perhaps.
Yes, okay, that'll be a modification to it, so it would give it a different, possibly probably a different armor class, but different sort of vulnerabilities and immunities. My fiend folio is currently in my piles of books under my bed. I can't reach it now. I've had to change my desk, so I can't reach my fiend folio. Things that go bump in the night. Yes, General Nut. Yes, there we go. The thing.
Of course, that particular one kind of sort of feels akin to Poltergeist, though.
Yeah. But shall we make the thing that goes bump in the night? Okay. Right. Okay. So, I'm going to say, is it going to be a bit like the thing that goes bump in the night? You can only see it. You can only really hear it. You can't see it. You know, and you know, like the questing beast in Arthurian legend. That if you're looking for it, you can't find it. I don't know. Okay, so
that actually that does bring an idea to my mind, though. Is that hearing the a thing that goes bump in the night, you can see where it was because it goes bump because it's doing some sort of mischief, perhaps.
Okay. So it's going to be invisible. You can see where it was. You can hear, you know where it was. So it's going to be invisible. It's going to be like a malevolent spirit. Malevolent spirit. Yeah. Oh yeah, I like that. Maybe like the Hound of Ill Omen, only one player in the party actually hears the bumping. Yes.
Oh, make it a perception roll that you every time it goes bump or something, and you're not guaranteed to pass the perception roll, perhaps.
Have it like as per a secret doors check. So elves might be a little more chance to perceive location. Each round equal to find secret doors. Right. Otherwise, they simply have no idea where it is. I'm going to give it AC 0 because it's going to be hard. It's not going to be particularly tough. All right. What's it going to do in terms of damage and attacks? Because the poltergeist doesn't really do any damage, but if you're hit by something it throws, it gives you a fear effect.
That is kind of sort of what I was going with, is that the thing that goes bump in the night, it doesn't attack you directly. It causes the environment to do things. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it pushes over a bookshelf, or a door slams shut in your face, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be, yes, the damage is going to be minor. Uses environment. My typing, it's dark in my room because my wife has switched the light off to go to sleep. There we go. Uses environment to attack.
The first time I saw a light up keyboard, I'm like, "Huh, that's useless. Who would need that?" And then I tried typing in a dark room, and like,
Yes, I've got a light just here by me. I really should point that at the keyboard, but it has a habit of reflecting and waking her up. So, okay. I'm gonna. If struck by attack, save versus spells or flee. Or flee. 50%. Confusion. 50%. There we go. I think that's. I might also say, like the Hand of Ill Omen, once somebody has perceived it, they're the only one that can perceive it for the duration of that round. Or is that too confusing?
yeah, maybe.
I'm going to say only one person can perceive it at any one time. So once someone has perceived it, it will aim for them. If they are hit, they'll suffer the effect, and then it'll allow others to perceive it. And as it whittles them down and they scatter.
Well, I mean, because like, you could go with the assumption that your party members would actually believe you when you tell them you heard this thing. Maybe, possibly.
I don't know. I think we need some quite a bit of fleshing out of text to describe how this one would work. But I think the idea is good. The idea is definitely good. I think the players will be confused. Yes, the players will be confused. Yeah, monsters in the closet or monsters under the bed. Yes, yes. I'm going to stick with the once one person has perceived it, they are aware of it, and the others can't perceive it until that one person is out of action, either through the effects of confusion. Hidden doors check every round after it does something only. Yes, yes. Invisible. Undetectable until it attacks. There are spells that might be able to detect this sort of thing, such as detect danger, or divination spells might show that there is something not right, but exactly what, they won't know.
Well, maybe make it like a really, really high skill check, but trying to use magic to pinpoint its location.
I'm not planning on using skill checks because I'm doing BX, so it's a case of keep it simple. I mean, I could easily do it like a 4d6 wisdom, 4d6 wisdom equal to a lower than your wisdom, something like that. Morale 12, alignment chaotic, definitely. Number appearing 1, treasure 0. High level spells. I mean, detect danger is a first level druid spell. I know because my druid uses it in OSE. Augury. Augury is not. Is that even in OSE? Is augury in OSE? Second level AD&D cleric spell, I believe. Protection from evil will keep it at bay.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, because like, you know, it's a malevolent being. It's doing this because it's using indirect methods because it can't just rip your head off. It
Yeah.
wants to rip your head off. It's just not able to.
Well, protection from evil will force it to flee. It can't cope with the protection from evil. Okay. All right. Right, where are we? I quite like that one. There's a thing that goes bump in the night. Yes. Okay, right. Let's say we have a... any more ideas? Any more ideas? It might end up being a shorter stream tonight. We're going along at an alarming rate. We've created lots of imaginative stuff, but sadly, numbers in chat are dropping.
Oh, you know, there is an idea that just popped up, because I'm one of those people that I love mimics, and I keep coming up with new kinds of mimics just for the lulz. But a mimic that looks like a pile of candy.
Right. Okay. So the a toffee mimic. Like gooey, sticky toffee.
I mean, well, the idea I had in my mind was like, you know, like a handful of whatever small pieces of candy.
Okay.
If you actually eat it, it's poisonous, but you know, it's going to do things that to avoid getting eaten. Yeah, Elfbait calls it a candy golem, but
candy golem. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, candy golem. Right. Okay. Candy golem. That's a good idea. So this is toffee mimic treasure type toffee. Absolutely. So special and move. Right. I don't see this as moving particularly quickly. How big is this going to be? Just small.
Yeah, I mean, I would think of it as like something like you know, maybe as big as a loaf of bread, or maybe as small as a sandwich, somewhere around that size area.
Okay, so we're looking for something that's probably going to have decent armor class, but not a lot of hit points. Maybe that. Yeah. Right. What sort of attacks?
I guess like some sort of a paralytic effect.
Right.
So like it bites you, and it like it like causes your arm to get numb, and feels makes you sluggish and stuff.
Like if you have too much chocolate.
Sure.
And your belly just bloats, and you're just like that.
You feel like sitting down to take a nap, or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, so okay, so it causes lethargy.
Sure. I guess if you get bitten too many times by, you just like completely fall asleep.
Bite causes lethargy. -2 to hit, damage if bitten twice, victim falls asleep.
Yeah, what Brian said about it hiding near things where it doesn't look out of place. Yeah, that makes perfect
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, surprises. We'll just add a surprise bonus there. If we'll say surprises 5 in 6, if able to hide in applicable location. We'll leave that up to the DM to decide. So a pile of food or a glass jar or something like that. Okay. Attack 1 bite. Damage. It's only small, but it's going to be quite hard. There we go. It's Gollum. It's mindless. I'm going to say you have multiple. It could be, there we are. Think that would work? Bite causes diabetes. Yes.
Well, Brian. Another thing with this kind of creature is maybe possibly there's more than one.
Yeah. I put number appearing 1d4.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, if it surprises you and bites you, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like the whole unwary child's like, oh hey, there's candy here. Let's just scoop up all of the candy, and the candy is like, no, actually.
If the victim is under 13 years of age, causes sugar rush. Causes victim to go to be hasted for an hour.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, I like that.
The candy floss elemental does sound like a nice idea, but that's a different kind of candy monster.
It is. But yeah, I think we'll do that now. I've run out of copying and pasting things. Right, I need to just delete the extra stuff here. So this is going to be Candy Floss Elemental. Halflings get it worst. Well, they can be greedy as well. They're yeah.
Well, yeah, that's actually an interesting point about halflings in Tolkien. Is that the halflings regularly eat twice as much food as a human of their size.
Yeah.
So you would think that for a halfling, even though they weigh half as much as a human, they'd have the same tolerance for eating sugar.
Possibly. That's why I thought basing it on age, because kids, if they eat lots and lots of sugary sweets, go hyper.
Well,
Yes.
part of that since simply the relative body mass per amount of sugar.
Yes. That is true. Right, a Candy Floss Elemental. Elementals tend to have decent armor classes. I can see this being hard to hit. Special.
Well,
takes only.
I would put the armor class at conceptually. Are we going to see this as wispy strands of candy floss floating in the air, or is it going to be a big old lump of candy floss with tentacles that grabs you?
I think it's going to be a big lump of candy floss.
Because like if it's a big lump, then it's like maybe just give it a lot of hit points and relatively low armor.
Okay. So something like 4 to 6 hit dice.
Yeah, I guess.
AC of about 6, which is medium.
Sure, I guess. Works.
Damage. This is another one where I can't see it doing too much damage, but it's going to kind of have a special effect.
Well, I mean, if we go with the idea that it's like wrapping itself around you.
Smother.
Yeah.
Smothering, yes. So damage is going to be small. Smothering.
I just thought of something. It's like the whole like treasure on this one. It's like maybe this one it'll actually give you a heart, its heart, which is a sugar crystal, as it's a crystal treasure drop.
Yes. Heart shaped. My typing is actually, I think my battery is bad on my keyboard, so it keeps dropping out. Heart shaped sugar crystal worth 1d6 times 100 GP. Right, okay. Smothering, okay, smothering. So this is going to be the worst effect. So it's, what about a con check? How would they break out? How would they break out of being smothered?
Well, I cut off whatever piece of the elemental is touching them.
It's hard to specify that. Hard to specify that.
But maybe word it as if the person being smothered manages to make a successful attack on the monster, it temporarily loses its grip of them.
Okay, yeah. Smothering. Victim takes d4 damage per round until they cause damage to the elemental. Can also attempt to break free as per web spell. I think that's fair.
Sure.
Yes. 4 hit dice can smother 1 victim. 5 hit dice can smother 2 victims. 6 hit dice can smother 3 victims. Move going to be about 60, so we'll take it quick. There we are. There we go. And I'm going to say 1d6 times 100 GP. I'm going to make it really worthwhile per. Let's just drop that down. 1d3 times 100 GP per hit dice of the elemental.
Yeah.
So that's potentially quite a lot. it's a big one, so it says what it can be up to 1,800 gold pieces. Yeah, that's fine. Right. There we go. That's. Shall we? Yeah. Okay. Shall we switch from monsters now and go for Halloween magic items?
Oh yes, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that one thing that you guys were talking about earlier, I thought it was a magic island when I first heard you talking about it.
Halloween magic items. Jack-o'-lantern, when worn, is visible. Hello, Slan. How you doing? So, give it a jack-o'-lantern. Would you put the jack-o'-lantern on your head here, Nutty?
Yes, that's when worn. Is that like an actual pumpkin though? Okay, that does say on your head, so I guess wear it like a hat.
General Nut's got this thing about putting things on your head. He's the one who invented the OSE trope that we've got at the moment, where goblins become extra stealthy when they've got a chicken on their head. It makes no sense. It made sense in the game we were playing. He gave this poor person who was trying to flee town a chicken, put it on his head, and say, now you'll be able to flee safely. They won't be able to see you. We were all playing goblins in this game.
That reminds me of the chicken hat from one of the Metal Gear games.
Oh, right.
It looks stupid, but if you wear it, enemies just like pretend you're not there or something. I didn't actually play the game. I just heard about it in one of those list videos. I mean, here's several stupid things video game programmers did.
So this will be a jack-o'-lantern helmet. When worn over one's head, yes, it did work. It did work, Nutty. It did. Magic jack-o'-lantern when worn.
As a kid, we actually did try that once.
Head glows like a lantern.
So like part of the magic of it is that even though your face is actually what's inside it, when people look at it, it looks like there's a candle inside it instead of your face.
Yes. But also gives a -2 penalty to reaction rolls.
I guess you wouldn't be able to. I guess you have very poor side vision because, well, you have to look out the holes in the pumpkin face or something.
But it's good for everybody else because it's a permanent lantern on your head.
Yeah.
So they don't need to. So all you do is you put it on the wizard's head who's standing at the back of the party.
Yeah.
And he'd just walk around and get glowing. Look at me. I'm a pumpkin.
+2 when trying to intimidate. That's an amusing idea.
Yes. But +2 if the creatures are typically ruled by fear, e.g. orcs. There we are. I think that's a think that's fine. I think that's absolutely fine. Come on, let's have some more. Let's have some more Halloween magic items.
Well, okay. Well, the whole thing you mentioned earlier about the sugar rush thing earlier gave me the idea of like uh, a charmed candy that when you eat it, it gives you like a sugar rush that lasts for several hours.
Yeah.
Or that so that like if you're like doing actual like combat stuff, it improves your ability to actually fight.
Okay. So sugar rush candy.
And I just had this weird idea pop into my head of maybe possibly being able to break the candy floss elemental's heart and use it for this.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Sugar rush candy, when eaten, gives 120 feet movement.
Oh, but Brian James and General Nut both came up with the idea of having a bag of holding for candy. Sure.
Okay, we'll do that next. Okay, when eaten gives plus 30 feet movement per turn, plus 10 foot per round. A bonus of plus, they're going to be moving quickly, so a bonus of +1 to AC, but effect lasts for 1 hour. Addictive. If used more than once in a 24-hour period, I think General Nuts is simpler. 2 rounds of haste, 3 rounds of slow. That's better.
Yeah, that also works, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's simpler.
Okay, Brian James came up with a second bag idea that's just death. A magic bag that if a humanoid gets placed inside it, the humanoid is turned into a candy statue of himself.
Ooh, that's
Wouldn't
brutal.
Yeah, that would be kind of like killing you, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Although as death traps go, that is an interesting idea for a death trap.
I mean, that would be good as a trap, I think.
Like you walk up to the front door, push the trick or treat button, a bag falls over your head. Oops.
Okay. Right, we have suggested a bag of treats. What can it contain? We'll say we can always expand on this, but let's say shall we start?
One of the ideas that popped into my head was like a bag that if you put candy in it, the candy will never get spoiled or something like that.
So it preserves food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, the bags of treats can do a variety of things.
I mean, like the basic bag of holding thing is like in terms of carry weight. The carry weight is the weight of the bag of holding itself, and not whatever's inside it. So there's always that aspect of the idea.
Preserves any sweet food it contains. Plus, I'm thinking of pulling something out. Plus, roll d6. What else? What else can be pulled out of this bag of treats? One piece of sugar rush candy. If you roll a 2, one large cake, 1 day's rations. 3. You may be a cannibal if you're at your party member.
Well, I mean, see, because it's one of those like weird magical things. It's like it's technically not a person anymore. Technically,
yeah. I did once have a player character who he was playing a half orc, and he was a good guy, but he'd had a character flaw that growing up in the half orc tribes, he developed a liking for elf meat. He got killed and he got reincarnated as an elf completely randomly. That made life a little bit awkward, which is quite funny. Anyway, let's see. What other things could be in this bag of treats?
Well, I mean, like one of the ideas that popped into my head is that it's just like having it make duplicates of whatever things you put into it. But
Okay.
sometimes at random when you try to remove the object, it you'll pull the object out and then look inside the bag and see another one still there.
Okay.
I'm not sure how you would work that into a roll a d6 table, though.
No. I like bags that pull out random things. I like the idea of John that says here tricks on 4 to 6. Let's think about number 3. Let's 4. 1 piece of tainted sugar rush candy. Just 3 rounds of slow.
Well, yeah, because there's the whole idea of like, oh, you got a random free piece of candy. It was bad because it's leftovers from
Yep.
years ago.
So it might be a good piece of sugar rush candy. It might be one that just slows you down. What else? What else could we have in there? Other tricks.
Ooh. A piece of candy that if you eat it, your teeth get stuck together.
Yes.
Or actually, I just thought of something that came from a computer game play. Barony. One of the downsides that can possibly come up from eating food is having it make your fingers slippery so that you drop whatever weapons you're holding. But that doesn't really make sense for candy. But the opposite, like having your fingers get sticky. I'm just not sure what having sticky fingers would be as a downside.
I think there we go. 1 piece of sticky candy, 6 teeth together, unable to speak for 1 hour. So I need one other good candy here. I'm going to say 1 piece. It's going to be something really good.
A candy that restores your ability to use magic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to put this as some. It's only 5 and 6 are going to be bad. I don't know why it's doing that silly thing. 1 piece of concentration candy restores 1 spell used that day. I think that's fine. The DM rolls. So the only thing you know that's going to be good is the large cake. The other things are random. Yes. Okay. So, somebody mentioned mask. This distorted William Shatner mask. Remember the Halloween thing again?
Yeah.
Enables the wearer to cause fear, but cause fear.
Oh, you mentioned William Shatner and masks, and I just remembered something. Well, William Shatner years ago was involved in this TV series called Tech War.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things in Tech War that I remember, because quite frankly, it's been over 2 years since I saw it, and only a handful of things actually stuck with me from that show, was a form of camouflage technology that wraps the user in a glowing outline where you can't see the person that's inside the disguise because of the fact that it creates this like energy or a barrier that blocks you from seeing them. But going adapting that idea to this though is that you have a mask that when you put it on, it causes people to perceive you as a ghostly figure and not. You don't look like a person who is still flesh and blood. You look like a apparition.
So again, would it be like a fear effect? Probably.
Yeah, I suppose. It's like that would definitely give people a reason to be scared of you. That's for sure.
Yeah. So this distorted William Shatner mask enables the wearer to cause fear, but at a cost of -1 charisma at each use. Yes. As it
but General Nut, that's the reason why you have -1 charisma.
yes. Yes. Right. Okay. If you're forced to talk like Kirk the whole time wearing it, yes, or sing like him. Yes, we have had nerds over here, Slam. I haven't seen them around for a long time, but I have seen nerds. It causes the character to speak in sentences. Yeah, a mask that is cursed to cause the wearer to emulate the creature that is represented by the mask. Did you ever play the basic module, The Lost City?
No, afraid not.
There were mad cultists that wear masks, and I don't know if it was in the original, but certainly it's in the Goodman Games reissue, where you have a chance of meeting a group of people in wolf masks that howl like wolves because they believe they're wolves. Things like that. I had a guy who was in it who was wearing a dog mask who just sort of walked up and down the corridor marking his territory.
It's like I mentioned a while back. This like I saw something. I think it was a one of the Goosebumps episodes where one of the plot points was things that were parts of Halloween costumes that would cause you to temporarily act like whatever the costume represented.
Yeah.
Like like you put on the mask and now you're cursed to act like whatever the mask represents.
Yes. I think that's a good idea. That's a good one. And Brian says that's where he got the idea from, the Lost City, the inhabitants of that place, where they act like the creatures that are wearing the masks. Then you've got some lycanthropes in there, and of course their faces look like whatever creatures they are. But it's not a mask. They're actually lycanthropes. They're werefoxes.
One of the weirdest things I ever saw was the idea of were creatures who use masks to pretend to be human. Like you look at them and you're like, oh, this is a normal human person doing normal human things. But if you somehow accidentally knock off the mask, like, oh, wait.
Yes. Right. Grim Reaper's War Scythe, +1/+3 versus non-corporeal undead. Absolutely. Absolutely. Is that, I mean, were those masks, Brian, in the original B4? I can't remember. I know they're in the Goodman Games reissue. That's right. Those are the tables I used. I don't know if Goodman Games maybe got that from Dungeon Magazine, but I rather like that. But at the moment, we've got a fair few sort of, these have all got curses on them. All these things have got some form of curse on them. So we're going to need to have something that's not cursed at all. Something that's nice. Something that's going to... Okay. Enchanted costume allows the wearer to assume the form of the costume, including all abilities a creature depicted by the costume would have.
Ooh, I just thought of something. A ring that looks very normal until you hold it near something that is spoiled food or like some other way tainted or poisoned. And in that case, the gem on the ring starts to glow somewhat.
So you could detect if the Candyman has tainted the sweets.
Yes.
That's what we forgot for the monsters. The Candyman.
Ooh.
Oh yes, the Candyman. I'm going to go back and do a monster. Right, only functions once per year on the night of Halloween. There we go. I think that's useful. Okay, so let's go back up and let's make. I've pasted these in. and I want. This is going to be the Candyman. Now, this is going to be probably, I imagine, the nastiest monster of the lot we made tonight. Monster. The Candyman. Tech Candyman. The Candyman. Right. And I'm going to throw this one open to all of you lot. What do you reckon the Candyman would do? Now, I know there's a film about the Candyman. I've not seen it. And I know that, wasn't there a murderer who was nicknamed the Candyman?
Vaguely recall such things, yes.
I just know the idea of the Candyman from the Susie and the Banshees song, Candyman. Great record.
One idea that popped into my head, although I don't really think it's necessarily a good idea, mind you, it's just something that occurred to me, is have a monster that if it kills someone, it has an ability that allows it to cook them and turn them into sweet meats. Not like candy in the traditional sense, however, but it's kind of like the old way of preserving meat, where it doesn't taste salty but it tastes sweet instead. But it's otherwise kind of like dried meat.
So it can, and the whole idea of someone becoming a ghoul is if they become a cannibal. So it could have the ability to create its own pack of ghouls by doing this.
Yes, it's like tricking someone into eating it will cause them to turn.
Yes. Okay. That wouldn't be the Candyman, though, would it?
Perhaps not. Not really candy in the sense most people think of.
I like the idea of that monster, though. I like the idea. But that could equally be a necromancer who's doing that sort of thing. It's an idea for an adventure.
The flavor text of having the meat be like savory and sweetened, so that it tastes good, is really the only thing candy themed about that idea.
But he could be a traveling merchant who visits inns with this wonderfully fragrant meat.
Something delicious and amazingly appealing.
Yes.
Except that it's that
it's more an idea for quite a vile adventure rather than a monster.
Not really one of those like fun, lighthearted ideas, I guess.
No, it would make a good horror film. I think that is a plot of there we go. We've come up with a plot of a horror film. Any filmmakers out there, Seymour Hawkman, for how much it would cost to license that idea. Kindly old man that drugs people and collects skulls. So people are so this Candyman, Grumpy Old Slant says, I've only seen clips of the film. We call him turning into computer generated particles, but no other ideas. Okay, well, we might have to sleep on the Candyman and think of he would be like a big bad guy. I think
it's like a candy themed villain who's like actually like a seriously dangerous villain.
Yeah. So I mean, this would be. I mean, the Candyman would be. I think the Candyman would just be a nickname for a.
I just thought of something nasty.
What?
Kind of a wizard
A,
who,
a necromancer type.
but different because his flavor of ghoul is sweet and sugary, and his victims get turned into things that look more like chocolate coated people and smell more like chocolate coated people than looking like traditional zombies. But in reality, they're actually just they have more or less have the same stats as a regular undead. It's just that
Mhm.
his undead army look like candy monsters.
I mean, again, this is the plot of a good Halloween scenario. I think this is. I think we're into scenario writing territory here. The party could walk into a town where all the people smell sweet, and out in the sun, it looks like their skin is made of chocolate as it melts.
Hmm.
Yes.
Although like as a dungeon trap, that this particular guy could do this trap where he leaves behind bits of candy that if you eat them, well, I mean, that happens.
Hmm. Hmm.
Turn into a candy ghoul.
Okay. So, I think the Candyman. I'm going to do this now. Actually, he's going to be an NPC. He's going to be a wizard type. So I'm going to give him an armor class. The stream's going to overtime. Monsters, treasure, and module. Yes. I still have my pumpkin hour, which is midnight. So we've got 13 minutes left. So I'm going to say the Candyman is he's got to be able to cast spells that are really applicable to as a 7th level magic user. Special. Create candy ghouls. Cooks, sweetens, victims, flesh, anyone consuming it begins a slow transformation into a candy ghoul. Same stats as a normal ghoul, but I say they smell sweet.
And I guess going with Brian's idea is like while you're in the process of being transformed, you become more easily suggestible.
Okay. Yes. That's fine. Yeah. So stats as per a ghoul, but they don't smell rancid. They smell sweet. They are highly suggestible while going through the transformation. But the transformation would take a little while. So you could find people who've begun the transformation. And the only hint is this slight odor of chocolate. Yes. I think we've done pretty well there.
Mm-hmm.
And spells as per 7th level magic user. I think that's about right. Yes. Damage. Someone's apparently he's got a poison bite, so I'm gonna put damage is a dagger of venom. Oh, my keyboard playing up. Give me the G's, thank you. There we go. Treasure, and I'm gonna put here what items he's got. So he's got a dagger of venom. He's got. I've given him AC 7, so I'm going to say he's got braces. AC 7. What other items do you think he might carry?
I don't know, a bag of candy.
Yeah, actually, no, he would carry.
I mean, is it candy you want to eat or candy that will curse you? Are you bold enough to find out?
Yeah. Bag of candy. And I wonder if there's we'd have a saving throw. I'd have to think about that. Brian, I think with my keyboard, it's the fact that it's either the battery or the fact that the receiver is about 5 feet away from it because it's on top of the computer, which is up above my head. So I think that might be why when I'm scrolling around and playing Dungeon Keeper, the keyboard is a bit awkward. Yes, weapons could stick to candy ghouls. I think that's a good idea. It's a very good idea.
Hadn't thought of that one, but that is interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. Is that like the creature, the Adira, which is another Fiend Folio monster? Something like that. Just some sort of adaptation of that. Candy ghouls would be quite weak, though, I think. They'd be quite weak, but they'd be numerous and irritating. I'm wondering. Also, he'd have some ability to charm, to entice people. I could just do that with a spell, couldn't he?
Perhaps.
Yes. Favors. Enchantment.
Like here, I to take this perfectly normal, not at all cursed candy. It's delicious.
Yeah. But if you have spells like your charm person and things like that, I'm your friend, aren't I? You don't want to hurt me. You trust me, don't you? Here, have a piece of candy. Yeah, it's delicious, isn't it? Yes. And well, you could say that the candy in there is the victim made from the victim's flesh. Yes. Something to charm or cast suggestion. Well, if suggestion and charm are the spells he tends to have, I think that would do it. But something that will always make his appearance to be that of a kindly old man.
Yeah, I mean, he could have some sort of like a minor illusion ability to make him harmless.
Yeah, yeah. I know. So well, how about that?
Oh, that is an interesting idea. Yes, like um the whole like idea of like, oh, I have a passive ability that causes me to automatically know when anyone evil is near me. Having it actually fail them versus this guy, that would be interesting.
Yes, yes. Yeah, no one will ever detect any evil thoughts emanating from him. He is a kindly old man. Yes, evil is live spelled backwards. And we all want to live, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he is our Candyman. I think he's. I
I,
think he's the.
I forget how many different places I've seen this, but there's this idea of like whole having like detect evil only actually work if the person is currently
Yes,
thinking evil thoughts.
that was the. I think that was the intention of it all along, but it just sort of got a bit distorted by people. I know my friends when we were in our teens, my friends used to argue it was a permanent radar. Thus, having a paladin would completely spoil any adventures that where a hidden assassin might be lurking around, like against the cult of the reptile god, for example. One of the great adventures. My friend playing a paladin argued that he could be able to detect anything bad all the time, whether or not they were planning evil things at that moment.
I've
But that's
actually
that.
seen people use it that way in Hyperborea games,
Mm,
but it's not actually spelled out in the rules whether it's supposed to be used that way or not. Oh well. Anyway, though,
I don't.
it seems like an interesting gimmick you could do with this, though. It's like having explicitly state that uh, most of the time, at least, he won't register for that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. I think if he's wearing a robe that causes all of those spells to come back as him kindly thoughts. He's lawful. He's not evil. He's ESP. He's thinking he's being generous. And I would say it would have to take a high level divination spell to break through it. Something like True Sight.
Mm.
That sort of level of divination.
Well, one of the
Even
ideas that I've seen people use in games, and I'm not sure if the game you're thinking of works this way, but some games have it so that if they kind of sort of like have like degrees of success where it's possible that while you think you are fully successful, you really have incomplete or inaccurate information.
yeah,
But and like having him like require you to have such a high skill level that you need to like do like god tier spell checks in order to make it work. Otherwise, your role just gives you something other than what you think it's giving you.
yes, yes. Hence, fairly low level spells will get a wrong reading on him all the time.
Mm-hmm. And or just like needing a casting bonus that's absurdly high in order to make them work.
Or a high level of caster. Just
Yeah,
simply a high
right.
level of caster. Yeah. Yes, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely fine. And that takes us right up to the witching hour, pumpkin, the time of night when I turn into the first monster on the list tonight, the pyro pumpkin, where my fat AC8 head starts spitting flaming seeds at people. Right, so I'm going to have to end the stream. Thanks for joining me, Mark Hawkman, keeping me company for this last hour or so. That's been most helpful.
Yeah, that was pretty
fun. You've got a channel, haven't you? So you get the chance to shill your channel to everyone who's still watching.
This month I have actually been doing videos on Star Trek related plot ideas, but since it's spooky season, doing the ones that are particularly strange and thematically appropriate. Like the ones I've done so far this week are one where a character gets kind of sort of possessed and then has a baby from whatever possessed her. And this entity is now walking around the ship talking to people. Like that. That's one of those things that's just kind of, it's not really horror, but it's very creepy. And then there's one where the entire episode was like, oh, we have these two diplomats who we need to transport to another planet. And the entire episode is centered on trying to figure out how to interact with these diplomats properly, because as it turns out, they're shapeshifters and not humanoids. And they don't think like humanoids or act like humanoids.
Doppelgangers. Alien doppelgangers.
Kind of, yes. They never take on, they never try to imitate people. However, they have the ability to turn into gross monsters at will and rip your head off. Because unlike some shapeshifters, these guys, if they turn into an 8-foot werebeast, have the strength of an 8-foot werebeast.
Right, well, as I say, thanks for joining me, and thanks as well to Elfbait, who of course also has a channel. So do subscribe to both of my guests tonight. Thank you everyone who's joined in chat. Nice to see you, Dirty History and Hobbies. I think I've seen you on some of our streams before, but I believe you've come in via Elfbait's link. But nice to see you. And all of my regulars here: Mike, Slan, Brian, Nutty, everyone else who's been in at some point. Lovely to see everybody. And if you want to play some games with me, we will be playing OSE on Saturday. It's only the early session that's going ahead this Saturday. I've left the evening slot open because I'm going to a party. So if anyone wants to run a game on the evening slot, you're more than welcome. I'm hopefully going to be running. I'm hopefully going to be running a game of Call of Cthulhu next Tuesday, which is Halloween. If you want to take part, come along to the Discord and register your interest. And I've actually. I just accidentally cancelled myself out. I do apologise. I think I just accidentally kicked Mark Hawkman as well. I just accidentally hit the leave studio button at the bottom, so that killed it all. That's just me being stupid. Sorry, Mark Hawkman. It's me being clumsy. So, if you want to play some games, there's some options. And hopefully I'll see you soon. I'm off work tomorrow. I've switched my working days this week. I worked yesterday, so I didn't make a video, but I'll probably make one tomorrow instead. But thank you all, and I will end the stream properly now. Cheers.